Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I'm your host, Jonathan Bannister. And today I am with Leo. And Leo has been in and around multiple industries for the last 25 years, including retail, wholesale, manufacturing, and business coaching and training. He's now with BCI Plumbing, Heating, and Air out of Denton, Texas, here in my backyard, where he lives with his wife and his two kids. Leo, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to get to know you.
Yeah. So you and I were talking a little bit before we got on here and went live. You're not originally from the industry. So let's talk a little bit about that. It's a little unique. You know, most contractors I talk to, they either were born into the business or they started working, as a technician and then worked their way up and eventually bought a company, started a company, whatever. So what was your trail and how did you get here?
It's a bit of a long trail. So I'm actually born and raised in Costa Rica.
Okay.
So I came in 1999. Right before the world ended. Well, the first time it was supposed to end.
Yeah.
I remember
2000 was all crashing.
Oh yeah. And I made it through a lot of different things. I was part of a ministry back then, and then did some marketing, did some video editing. Back in the time, gosh, if you're into it, I was able to do like music mixing for like Petra. That's going really back in the time. If you know that world, but I started mixing when I was 12, so it was just kind of a thing for me. But I found my way going through different industries. I pay for my college, so it took me 7.5 years to be able to graduate because I had to work full time and go to school full time.
Okay.
And kind of worked my way through the motorcycle industry and wholesale and manufacturing, some retail at the beginning of it. You just got to see all different sides of it. It was interesting when you look at any industry, you see a product like I'm sitting here and I know this doesn't look like a mouse, but it's a mouse, right? But when you break it apart and to look at all the aspects of it, you realize as a consumer, I only see a product, but when I break behind it, there's so much more to it. And I think that our industry, as of the last few years, is that a renaissance, right? That intellectual versus creativity is starting to meet the market, and we're starting to try to think outside the box. And we've gone from small mom and pops to big conglomerate, and now we're trying to figure out what's in the middle, what works, So just kind of had the opportunity to see it from all different aspects, and helped me understand more an appreciation for the value of labor, the value of expertise, the value of knowing how to fix something versus how easy it was to fix, and some of the things that even in our industry, w- I see it over and over again, technicians sometimes not seeing their own value.
Yeah. So you came into BCI here in Denton in 2019.
Yes.
With your extensive background across various industries, how have those experiences influenced your approach of how you're helping run things at BCI?
There was a little bit of a getting acclimated, right? You come into a place that's been around at that point for 35 years, and a lot. I mean, even one of my partners is employee number one, so he's one of the originals, right? You don't know anything but what you know at that point,
Yeah.
and so you have to respect that there was truth and there was wisdom and there was greatness. They brought us here. You can never just shine the past and say, "Oh, well, that doesn't work anymore." No, I mean, the reason why we're here today is because of it worked, right? But even when you get into it, plug yourself as fresh blood, you have to kind of look at it and say, "Okay, how do I respect the path that we've taken, and how do I help us all see, hey, our consumers changing, their access to information is changing, their understanding or what they think they perceive that we do has changed." And so you have sometimes an uneducated consumer with a lot of education.
Yeah.
And so we started working through first just changing our culture. I read a book. It's got to be 22 years ago, is Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh from Zappos, right when they got purchased by Amazon. It's a huge purchase. It was a big deal. I even went to see their corporate, and it was incredible. And it just was the beginning of what culture, or the topic what culture was. At least to me, it was. And I've been studying it for a long time. But what I learned over time is culture is what you make it, and the culture starts with you as the leader. What is it that you're are all about? And so we started working through the culture and changing the way we perceive ourselves, the way that we project ourselves with the customer, and then as we worked through that, COVID hit. So whatever you were working on kind of came to a stop, and it was a time in life where we were just like, okay, what is this? We never lived through this. How do we navigate through it? So during that time, what we did is we had a conversation internally where we truly, it was an eye opener because I never had to have this conversation. It just looked at your partners to say, how long can you go without a paycheck so that we don't lose anybody?
Mm.
And so our position, because our culture has shifted so much, was what do we do to save our team, and how do we make sure that they're taken care of, and not to neglect ourselves, but let's just be honest. And so during that point, we had a conversation about, do we close the doors? Do we do we put a pause? Like, what does it look like? And I've read before, and I mean, as you can see behind me, there's books and books, and that's only a portion of it. And it talked about, in the moment of crisis, there is always great opportunity if you figure out what to do with it. And so what we did at that point is we took a 36-year-old company, and we connected with Dan over at KickCharge and did a complete rebrand. Seemed completely logical, seemed absolutely insane that you would go in and redesign your logo, redo all your letterheads and business cards and wrap your vehicles and everything. But we did. And then we started focusing on giving back to the community. There's a lot of KPIs in marketing, and a lot of different things we talked about, like um, your LSA and your pay per clicks and things like that. Uh, maybe it's not. I don't know. There's controversial things in podcasts, and maybe it's not the smart thing, but I haven't really put a focus on pay per click, because pay per click has gotten to where if you're big and you can afford to run the budget out from everybody else, then you have the market for yourself, right? If I can raise that average ticket so high that the smaller players, their budget is done in 10 clicks,
Right.
then you're done playing. And so we started working towards giving back to the community and going to events. And one time somebody asked me, goes, "How come you guys show up and you have all these things to give us?" I said, "Well, normally you give that to advertising for Facebook or for Google, and you pay them all this money, but we've decided to take and allocate that money towards giving back to the community." And so when we go to these events, people just line up to spin the wheel, and they come to us and they're like, "Hey, that's awesome. You got glasses, you got beach balls, you got all these different things." So in that reconstruction of who we were, and that evolution, because me coming in, that was just one aspect of it. There were
Yeah.
other decision makers. So we try to figure out and look and listen to my partners and say, what has been important to you? What have you done in the past? And they have given to Humane Society. They have worked with the local charities over the past 30, well, now 41 years. And so we just injected this new passion and this new direction and said, okay, make a culture about that. Let's make sure that our team can see the impact that they're doing, and then have them participate on it.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely genius. It's what all companies have to get back to. I think AI is about to make things really, really hard for marketing. You talk about PPC. Um, we try to get our clients off of PPC as quickly as we can. The only PPC ads we want them to run is for their branded name. We obviously don't want a competitor trying to steal their name. Um, but the only way that you can really do that is that you've acquired enough brand equity to where you're getting the clicks and stuff that you need from Google Maps or from
Mhm.
direct search, referrals, things of that nature. You have to be strengthened. And the way you strengthen that is getting out in the community,
Yeah.
sponsoring the little league team, cooking hamburgers and hot dogs in the local community, getting with the HOA people, like you have to touch people differently than just a digital impression, because most people aren't the ads they're trying to run is they're always trying to sell. And it's like, I think you got to be educational and informative, and you got to come from a place that you truly want to help. And then that will just trickle down and become revenue at some point. You mentioned, um, things you're spending money on, not spending money on. It's like, I remember one time a guy named, Billy Stevens.
Yes.
He owns Billy Go, in this
Mhm.
market. He owns the software Sarah. I remember I was over at his office one day and I asked him, I was about to leave and I knew he had 10 or 11,000 club memberships. And only since like 2019 did this happen. And I remember I was about to leave. I was like, there's a question I want to ask you. Hey, Billy, how much are you spending right now on average in marketing per month? And he goes, oh, we don't spend any money on marketing. I was like, Billy, don't lie to me. I was like, I just saw one of your Google ads the other day. I'm like, I know you're spending money. He goes, no. We've got 11,286 club memberships and we collect $9 or whatever it is per month. And he goes, that's our marketing budget every month. He says, so we don't look at it as we're spending money on marketing. We're spending our club membership monthly dues to go and buy, achieve more customers. So there's all kinds of different ways you can look at it. I think you got to be smart with it. But I'm telling my clients, get into the home and garden shows.
Yeah.
Use digital if you can, because you can geo-fence that area. Make
Mhm.
sure you lock onto their phones, and when they go back to their home, they'll actually it'll put it into their Wi-Fi, and you can stream their TVs, and it's locked on those people that are only at the event.
Yeah.
But let them see your pop-up booth and your 10 or whatever you have out there. But like those relationships are going to be super impactful moving forward. And people need to, and also it's like everybody's been at Google for 25 years. Well, that monopoly, that party's coming to an end
Mhm.
and they're losing market share. So it's
Yeah.
like you don't want to be in a place where you got to be advertising on Google, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Gronk, this one, that one. Like you're not PE, you don't have the pockets deep enough to do that, nor do you want to for revenue and profit. But work on your brand. And I think one of the ways you can do it cheaply or
Yeah.
inexpensively is like you're saying, just get into the community, go give back to the community and strengthen those roots there.
An aircraft carrier is impressive,
Yeah.
but you can outmaneuver it with a small boat.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to know what you're doing. And the sea of options that we have, because it's true. I mean, I finally this year put a lot of effort into Google business profile, which you should have that optimized no matter what.
Yeah.
And that was it was kind of there, but this year really put effort into it. But that's just one aspect of it. When you go to an event, you say home and garden show. When I go to those events, um, the ladies at the events we go, they love us, and I don't think I have one in here, but I would have shown you. I bought those bags that now they charge you for, so you don't use plastic bags at the store.
Yeah.
So I turned one into the teal color there's our color, put a logo on it, but I didn't buy the small one. I bought the one that you can put about 4 to 6 bags of chips, the extra long one.
Yeah.
And you walk into the event, and everywhere you turn, there's our logo. When we did the beach balls at this festival that it is, there's kids playing and there's adults throwing and everything else. What do you see? You see a logo. We pass
Mm-hmm.
koozies. Everybody's selling them. Probably vendors don't like us because of it, but we passed about 1,000 koozies, and everywhere you turn, there's this teal color. It's just everywhere you hit it, and it's hard because you probably do this. You get calls for, hey, can you advertise here? Hey, would you spend money with us here? Hey, can you support this
Mm-hmm.
charity?
Absolutely.
And the most cliche answer that I know of, hey, my marketing is tapped out. And I hate that answer because I won't give it. So like even we got a little bit more creative with the charities, and there's so many options, so many great causes. But how often you turn around and realize, I never heard of that one. I never heard of this one. They do great things. I can't help them. And so we said, okay. And I would meet with the charities, and I still do because we do it once a year. And I say, listen, we're going to make a competition. It's a first, second, first, and third place. Here's the amounts that we're going to give away. But what we're going to do is going to put you on the website, and we're going to connect all the charities and all their supporters to the same website, and everybody gets to vote every day. And what's going to happen is I'm going to expose your charity to somewhere between 4 to 7,000 people that will come in to participate and help their charity of choice. So while I can't give you every year, I'm going to give you an exposure that you won't get anywhere else. And there you'll find volunteers, you'll find money, you will find supporters, you'll find partnerships, things that you may not have found before. And now is the gift that keeps on giving.
So you're taking someone that calls and says like you'll promote it like with your customer base.
Yeah, so what we do is we say, hey, we want to give money away. And we have selected three charities. I've learned not to put puppies against anybody or kids against puppies because the kids lose every time. Everybody loves the puppies more, right? But it's like what I do is I spend some time, and this is time consuming. I spend some time stalking them, stalking their Facebook following, their activities, and kind of gauge what is their customer base for a better, so if I find a charity that has a 2,000 people following, I'm not going to try to put 100 people following charity in there, because what I'm asking is for 2 months, ask your people to come to this website and vote for you. Well, obviously the people, the charity has 2,000 supporters is going to outrank
Right.
everybody else. But when they go neck to neck with it, it's kind of fun. We've done charities like Casa, we've done charities like Women to Women, we've done charities like Denton Freedom House, and these are great organizations that are out there serving the community. And what happens is when you have all these people coming to that website, they get to read about the other two charities, and they get to find out about the other great things that are going on in our community and how they can give back. So if I'm a person that likes to get involved with a charity or give money, I now have more information about somebody else.
I love it.
And so
Love it.
they love the opportunity, because I mean we normally average probably around 7,000, 7,500 voters on those.
Uh-huh.
It depends on the group size of what the charities are. And so it's our way to give back, as a way, as a business owner, is a way to control the budget, to make sure that we're not, you can't give more than you make, right? And so make sure that we allocate the proper amount, and then we continue to rotate around to different charities every year. And the community gets to know, our customer gets to know all the different great causes that they could help with.
It's genius. Like you said, it's time consuming, but the payoff has to be just the exposure, what people see that
Yeah.
you're doing for the community, and then those other organizations, like you see, they get to learn about another nonprofit maybe that they've never heard of, or some other. Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I'm giving away all my secrets.
Yeah, all of them. Um, Look, can you share some unique ways that you keep your team motivated? Especially given your diverse background in coaching and training. What are some ways that you keep everybody just hyped and ready to go?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I'll start with this. If it depends on the size of your organization, right? Because if I'm a direct owner, and the team directly reports to me, I have a different access to them
Mm-hmm.
than if my organization, like we're almost 60 people, right? So I
Okay.
have a layer of managers between, and most of the time my focus is making sure that my managers are focused, and then they work with the team. But I'll say this is it doesn't matter, even if it is a small or a big size. Being present is probably the most important thing. You
Okay.
know, I Everybody has their own thing. I like to get into the office, get into my computer and just get my list of to-dos and prioritize and then make a plan and then try to focus on that. But then sometimes 2, 3 hours go by and I never even talk to anybody. Those are opportunities for you to connect with people, to genuinely find out how are you doing? What's going on? How is your family? Those are important ways to do that. Another way that goes beyond that is one of the things that we started doing was sharing back with a group text, like, here's what the customers are saying when they wrote that review. Hey, Nate. Hey, Jay. Hey, John. Like, your name was mentioned, and great job. Look at what was said with that. And uh, so those are the first things that come to mind. The other thing that we do, we focus on training in the off season. So our team knows that if you have a desire for your career, let's talk about it. And in some cases, when there's this obscure things like RPC license, right, to be able to certify, uh, we learn not to pay for them ahead of time because sometimes they don't finish, and then we get stuck with a bill. It's happened a few times. So what we've done is listen, this is a partnership. We believe in you, and we need you as much as you need us. So go get your license, take the time, and when you're done, come back with the receipts, and we'll take care of you because we're more interested in seeing you be confident and comfortable in who you are and what you've learned. And so you create this culture of wanting to drive forward and grow. And those are, I guess, those are the things that come to mind. We just had, I missed it because I had a wedding this weekend, but we just had a cookout. I heard the armadillo eggs or something like that were pretty good, but it was a celebration of hey, the summer's over, we're still alive, right? Let's get together and have some food. And then the last thing that I tell you that we do that we have fun with is, for a Christmas party, we started testing a few things, and then we've landed on taking the team and their families to Six Flags.
Nice.
And because at the end of the day, you have staff, we're borrowing those people,
Yeah.
but we're borrowing them for a very large portion of the week, for most of their life, actually.
Yeah.
And when you heard them, when mama ain't happy ain't nobody happy, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens when their sons and daughters and their spouses get to partake in the celebration of what we accomplished that year, and even at the group level that we go in, they get to invest an extra $20 per person and get a year pass with parking included. So these guys go as a group throughout the year, and they get to still partake on the benefits of that. So just expanding the how do we make the dollar amount, you can navigate it, but how do you make the impact to be a gift that keeps on giving one way or the other to impact more than just your technician?
Ladies and gentlemen, Leo has given all the secrets away. You need to be listening and you need to implement some of these, right? I mean, think about how you can pull the family into the culture of the business and think about the resentment that might be built up from the kids or the wife because the husband's gone all the time. But how does that energy and that emotion change whenever
Mhm.
they get to see the company for who they are, right? That they love their team and they're grateful for the time that they put in and the time that they're away. And we just, it may not be the biggest thing, but anything that we can do to give back and get everybody together,
Yeah.
like that changes that energy and changes those emotions. When that husband or that wife walks into the home, he or she is treated differently from the family because now they see the impact that that is coming from the business that they work for. So yeah, I mean, it's such a small thing that is huge.
And you hope that that one time when they get the call late at night,
Yeah,
and that spouse has to be like, really again. And again, it's not it doesn't wash away all the sins, I'll tell
right.
you that, but it's still gonna be frustrating. But for that moment, for that one day that they get to spend a whole day and we have food and they get to go, and it's not even a corporate thing. We only get together for like an hour of food and fellowship after that, an
Yeah.
hour after that, and then they get to go have fun again. and it's just like not mandatory fun, just real fun.
Yeah. I just think of, as much as you can get the families and the team members together. And I've heard some of my clients and some people I've had on here, they do a phenomenal job and go all out and bring all the games and the different food trucks and stuff to the business, because I think, what a wife gets to be introduced to you and gets to meet you and hear
Yeah.
your story and meet your wife and your kids, right? And then how much easier does it make that phone call if the husband goes 10 o'clock at night and it's like, I got to run, take care of something for work. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, really? And then, well, it was Leo. He asked me to do him a solid. And, now she knows Leo. She's put the face to the name and has met you. And like, Leo would only ask that if it was super important for a very important customer or whatever, and it's like, again, I think it's energy, it's feelings, it's, we all have our own personal lives that we're navigating through. And I think those things that y'all are doing to strengthen the culture is huge to make
Yeah.
a big impact.
Our managers took it upon themselves to flat iron grill breakfast once a month. That was their choice. Like they're just like, hey, we want to do this. Sure, let's do it. Then I got them aprons with their names, to the originals, and then the ones that wanted to join later, I got them the apprentice or helper aprons just for the heck of it. But we do the ice cream social in the middle of summer just for our team. But like this last weekend, I was great when I heard that everybody brought their significant other to the technician cookout.
Oh, nice.
That was a first because this is only our second, but the first time it was the technician showed up and my partner showed up with his wife and then no other wife showed up, right? And this time they were all there, and that is helpful because it builds connections and strengthens those relationships in a different way.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about marketing a little bit. You mentioned that you recently did some optimization on the Google business profile. um, are there any areas in digital marketing that you feel could be further optimized, I guess, to enhance y'all's, whether it's online presence or just anything else that y'all have tried in the past or that y'all are thinking about doing in the future?
Um,
Give us some more secrets. Let's go.
golly. The last time I did this, I had a lot of local competitors start doing everything I was doing. And that's great.
Oh,
Listen, I told you when you asked me about this, are you okay with doing this? I said yes. If it furthers our industry, yes.
yeah,
There's enough to go around. We don't have to chop each other up.
that's
There's
right.
plenty, right?
And I'm not going to
Uh,
let any local people hear this. I'm gonna exclude them from hearing
yeah, sure. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I did audio, I did video editing and everything. So I've always been behind the camera. I'm not comfortable in front of it.
it.
This that we're
Okay.
doing in here is not my natural habitat.
Okay.
Um, and I say that because when you're talking about is there something that could be done better or we should put effort into it, and that's exactly what it is. We need to be vulnerable enough to be in front of the camera. We need to be real. AI is going to take away and funnel the AI content away and look for the real stuff, And so when you look at those TikTok challenges and all these different things, when you talk about how do you change a B trap, homeowner, let me tell you how you change a B trap.
Yeah.
Like why not? I don't want to run a call to go ahead and clean your pizza. I mean, I do, but for what it costs our company to come and knock at your door to only manually remove the P trap and clean what's inside of it, there's a lot of people that can do it themselves.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go in and say, hey, my toilet has to be replaced. My water heater needs a repair. Those are things that you absolutely, 100%. So there's a little bit of there's a what's his name, Marcus Sheridan.
Marcus Sheraton, they ask, you answer.
Thank you. And so
I
I just
just
met him.
saw him. I got to see him in person about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Probably the best in person presenter I've ever seen.
he was an incredible. I mean, that kicked off the conference I was at, and I actually got to talk to him for a while. And then at the airport, we ran into each other. So, we exchanged numbers. I got his Endless Customers book, which is my next one
Yeah.
in line. And is that mindset of, hey, they ask, you answer. You do you want to know the price? Tell them the price. You want to, we have our online quoting system. You can go out there and kind of get an idea what it probably would cost you, because the consumer doesn't want to be sold. We're a little exhausted from being sold at, right? Marketing is everywhere. There's just always a, buy this, buy the other, get this, upgrade to that. And so what if you're the point of reference for information? What if you're the trust, you create yourself as the trusted brand? Now I'm really giving secrets that, yeah, that I probably should slow down on. But what I'm looking at right now, and it literally was a conversation I had with one of my partners this morning, is, hey, I want to create a strategy for creating live constant content. And yes, I may have to be in front of the camera, and I'm just gonna have to get over it. But what if we create that brand that people know that they can trust, because we're constantly out there helping, more beyond just giving little trinkets or showing up to the events, but we're actually answering the questions. We're actually having fun doing dumb things on
Yeah.
video and making them laugh. And so now that is what I, with all the AI, and I'm going deep into it. I'm working on automation. I'm taking courses. I'm really, really, it's really caught my curiosity in a level that I haven't seen a topic do that before in a while. And so I'm watching all of this and realizing, but no matter what happens, there's still the person to person, the
Mhm.
human aspect of it, and you can't lose that. So that's where I think the marketing needs to lean in harder than anything.
Yeah, and I'll give you some, since you've been so kind and sharing all of your secrets, I'll give you some secrets here. You can go the an easy way, you can go to Google and you can, put in AC repair Denton, right? And then but underneath Google Maps, you're gonna have it says also people also ask section. So you can get questions that people are asking locally there. You can also go, there's a software called Also Asked, super powerful. You can type in keywords and locations, and it'll actually create this like big old entangled looking map that'll give you ideas, topics, and strategy. But it's real searches or questions that people are asking online. Turn it into content, right? We create vlogs for our clients. We're doing that research, and then when we go, we shoot 2 days worth of content for every single client in person. But we create 15 or 20 of those. We call them top of funnel slash SEO videos because it's educational stuff. We want to do the research that people in your market are asking questions. So, for
Mhm.
instance, like, why is replacing an AC so expensive in Sewanee, Georgia? All right. Well, that's a question that somebody asked on People Also Asked. They want to know, why is it so expensive? Well,
Yeah.
now we took the general manager and he's given his expert opinion about my client's business, right? And it's not
Mhm.
the whole market, it's what his opinion is. And that's what Google wants to hear. And what Google
Yeah.
makes it trusted signals is that you're giving your opinion of based off of y'all's business of why you're answering the question as an expert. All right. It's one of the core algorithms updates of EEAT, expertise, trustworthiness. These are all signals that Google wants to look for. So, yeah, turn your questions that people are asking you on the phone to your CSRs, or just go to Google and find out what people are asking and turn it into video content. And then what we do is we will take the transcript from that video, feed it to AI, because now we want some AI content involved. And then so we tell AI, create me a blog that is going to be very informative about this video here that we created. And then we post it as a blog, but it's the YouTube embed video with a full, uh, blog content copy underneath it. And Google picks it up just like that.
Yep.
They'll put the YouTube video up there. They'll rank the article up there. It gets ranked on the AI platforms because it's coming off as trusted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. I mean, and Here's the thing we have to remember. You know, every company has gone through different training, whether it is your technician or your salesperson. Well, let's go technician wise, and let's say you try to work on getting them a script, which you should. You should always have a script. Otherwise, your consistency and your success are going to miss each other, right? If you're not
Yeah.
consistent, you can't be successful. But how many times have I heard a technician say, "Pff, I will kick him. I go kick myself out if I heard that." And that is because we lost sight of what it means to be a consumer. We lost sight of it because we're DIYers. You change the brakes on my car. That should take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
4 hours later, you figure out how to do it, but you did it. And you feel your story is that you did it, not that it took you 4 hours. So sometimes we have to go back to those questions and put ourselves in the shoes of the consumer and say, what is it the consumer is looking for? What is it that they need? Because we haven't been consumers for too many things.
Yeah. And the other thing is, stop thinking that by giving them that information that you're losing a customer.
Mhm.
Because if that customer is looking for how to change out the capacitor on the air conditioner itself, they're going to figure it out anyways, because there's going to be a technician that has a YouTube or a TikTok video that already walks them through it. So that's not who you're speaking to, the people that just want to feel empowered and informed. And now they trust you because you've already given all of this value and video content out there. And now they go, this is who I want in my home. They're fair,
Mhm.
they're honest, they're transparent, they do great work. That's who I'm calling. So you're building brand equity. You're not giving away your trade secrets. But what I will say is, to that person that wanted to know how to change out their capacitor, they don't know how to change out their full air conditioning system.
That's
But
true.
if you gave them some information that was valuable, they weren't going to be your customer for there. But when they go and screw something up on what they're fixing, they're going to call you as the expert because they've watched your video content. So
Mhm.
you got to just reframe your thinking there a little bit and stop being scared. And Marcus, look, well, all he talked about in Miami when I got to spend some time with him recently, all he talked about is how you better be transparent moving forward. You better put your pricing on your website.
Mhm.
The companies who aren't transparent and open about everything, they're going to lose tremendously, right? They're
Yeah.
going to lose because AI is going to work like this. Um, Here soon, 12 to 18 months, this is the way it's going to work. Hey, AI, you there? Great. Look, I need to get my air conditioning cleaned, and I'm only off on Tuesday. Can you find me a reputable company that has really good ratings, and find out who's available on Tuesday and book it before 2 p.m., please? And let me know when that's done. Thanks. That's it. They're not going to a website. They're not going to read reviews. Something's going to do it for them. So if that AI agent can't go to your website and get all that information for their master that told them to go find that, then it's
Yeah.
just going to go to the next company and the next company. So you better start looking through every document that you have and protocol and SOP that you have, and you better start turning it into content and feeding it to an AI, putting it on your website if you can, because it's coming and it's going to come quick, and you don't want to be left behind.
So you bring up a really good point. Really, the question that I have for you is, I know the answer I will give, but is okay. I mean, I just went to Pantheon.
Okay.
I never set foot in there. It was overwhelming, and I've been in the industry. I've been in the vendor side. I know a lot of people, but it was overwhelming how much is out there now.
Mhm.
How fast it's going. Where do you start?
It's a great question. I think you start with, hopefully you and other companies out there have some kind of system that you're managing off of, whether it's EOS or whatever. And it's like, it needs to be a rock, right?
Mhm.
Like, what are we trying to achieve? Is it efficiency? Is it, what is the goal? And then what do we need to go find and research to help us achieve that goal? And I say that because if you just look at everything that's coming out there, and there's
Mhm.
going to be so much, there's hundreds of things that come out every single day. If you only look at what's out there, you're going to get the shiny object syndrome,
Mhm.
and everyone. And that's what, man, I see these people left and right. A good friend of mine who lives in this market, he's a client as well. He owns a door company, Billy Klein. And the other night I was at dinner with him this past weekend, and he was we were talking about that, the shiny object syndrome, and AI is causing a huge disruption for that. And he said it's causing contractors to become post turtles. He's like, you know what a post turtle is? I was like, no, I've never heard that. And he goes, well, a post turtle is a turtle that woke up one day and he's sitting on top of a post and he doesn't know how he got up there, and he's looking around. He doesn't know how he's going to get down. And he goes, that's what these people chasing this next object or software or whatever that the next guru out there is telling them, go do this and go do that. And he's like, look, stay focused on your business. What got you to the place you're at now is not going to probably get you to the place you're trying to get to, but going and chasing these 20 things that other people are saying work for them isn't your answer either, and it's going to end up making you a post turtle. Figure out what you need and why you need it and reverse engineer that, and then go find the solution that may help you get there faster, right? But stop looking at, oh, that seems really cool, let me go get that. That's the wrong answer.
You know, you hit the nail on the head of something where you started, and that is, where are you going?
Yeah.
You know, right now, look, a lot of people are trying to build a company so they can sell them. Okay, that's the different goal that if you're trying to actually grow, or if you're trying to be better at what you do. I mean, there's parallels to them,
Correct.
but do you take completely different approaches to it? So when I looked at all of that, and I even wrote a thing on my, I don't do social media. I got off of social media in 2012, I think it was. I say that you found me in social media, but I don't post anything. I
Yeah.
don't do anything. I have it because I have to manage hours.
Yeah.
But my LinkedIn, I started kind of just throwing my thoughts out there after Pantheon, and I say, hey, it's great, but you got to look at what tools have you already purchased and are you using them?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, you're going to continue to add more things to the plate, and you're not utilizing them. And then, but it all starts with, where are you going? What's your 5-year vision? What's your 10-year vision? What's your 20-year vision? You know, I recently sat down with a friend of mine, a fantastic friend and mentor, and he's like, "We're gonna work on your 20-year vision." I'm like, "How old will I be in 20 years?" You know, like, that's a big expansion of the mind.
Yeah.
But what the exercise helped me do is, I look at that document that we created, and decisions that I'm making today, I have to look at it and say, are they taking me closer or further away from this? Do, do they play a role in this or not?
Yeah.
So, and I, 20 years is probably too much for a business when there's so many exit options right now. But if your goal is to scale up so that you can be absorbed, so you can double and double with it, keep going,
Yeah.
then let's just start with, what skills are you as a business owner developing that you will need at that level? The things that you need to understand. Do you understand your P&L? If you don't understand your P&L, or how decisions that you make based on the numbers you see in there, you asked me one of the things, like, what was the question, like, what are you known for? And I put in there, numbers lie unless you know how to read them,
Yeah.
which is simple. Our world, we're trying to tell everybody, all the gurus, which there's plenty, um, we're trying to tell them, hey, run your numbers, run everything by KPIs, KPIs, KPIs. Okay, that's great. You can look at a number and you can learn what they told you that it means, but do you actually know where the number comes from and what it has in it? I'll give you one example: average ticket. And I used to deal with this with contractors all the time. Oh, well, my average ticket is so low. And so after digging in there, we realize, oh, they never separated maintenance calls from demand calls. Well, now I have a problem. I already know my maintenance average ticket will be lower for the most part because
Right.
there's no emergency. So I need to look at those as two separate groups. So the moment that we pull out the maintenance calls out of it, their average ticket would go through the roof and they feel really good about themselves. So
Yeah.
hold on, that's only part of the picture. Now let's take a look at the other part of the picture, and what it's okay for your average ticket on your maintenances. If it is $75 and you're charging $100 for a maintenance, you really are hurting your bottom line right now. So what can we do, not just to sell, but what can we do to be trusted advisors and get that average ticket up? Now, if this one wasn't healthy, we definitely had to focus on the other one.
Yeah.
But the numbers will lie to you if you're not look at them correctly.
Yeah. We look at, like we do a budget and planning call our first week of onboarding. We have a 4-week onboarding process with our clients. And week one is a budget planning call. And so we get deep into what the average tickets are and their overhead expenses and so on. We look at capacity, right?
Mm.
Because we'll hear crazy, like, or we did 6 million this year. We want to do 9 next year. I'm like, okay, great. Well, let's just hypothetically play with these numbers a little bit. Well, you need an extra like 1,400 service calls, but let's just say that May, June, July, and August is where 80% of your revenue is coming from. So let's just say that this is how many more calls we need in July. Like, do you have the manpower today to do those? And I won't ask that question because they'll say, yeah. And I'll go, all right, well, how many service techs do you currently have today? Write it down. How many calls do y'all run during the summer? How many days do you operate? I'll do the math for them. Now my team does it, but we'll do the math and say, okay, you're 4 technicians short to be able to do the 9 million you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're well, when do you plan on hiring for that? Right. Because what happens is you think that you don't want to spend the money on the marketing until then, but you also think you don't have to go and hire until June 1st. And it doesn't work that way. You got to be thinking about hiring in January, if not the year before, to really find the right people, train them and get them ready so that they can go in the dead heat of the summer. And so, yeah, I think what I'm trying to get to is people don't know their numbers or understand the numbers nearly as much as they claim to. Sometimes, I'll hear an average ticket and I'm like, is maintenance in there? And then I'll go, is $0 tickets in there? Because like that average is low. Like, what is the problem here? And then I'll go, listen, do you have any idea how much a cost per acquisition is today on a lead for Google? PPC, LSA, do you have any idea what the industry average is? I said, in any given time of the year, it's between $300 and $600 to acquire a customer. Like to acquire a new customer is more than your average ticket. And that's not even taking in what your overhead is to get your technician in that truck or van that has a monthly truck note, that has insurance on it, that has tires and everything. I'm like, how do y'all operate? Like, this is just bonkers to me.
Well, and then you're under the assumption that whoever walks through the door is going to be ready to go jump in the van. we have a challenge that is different, and the majority of your listeners are probably residential primarily, but we operate across plumbing and HVAC, residential and commercial, and we do maintenance for both, but we also do a new construction. So we go all the way to industrial. So like right now we're doing a major distribution center here and there. We're doing about, I think it's like 3 miles of fused pipe.
Mm.
And so what we've learned is one is you have to cross train. So if you have commercial and residential, cross train, cross train, cross train, cross train,
Yeah.
cross train. Take the guys and go spend some time over here. And then the other thing is you train, you cross train, and then any apprentice that comes in the door, and I've said it to them. I said, listen, if you have no intention of getting a license, I love you. You go, you do you, boo. I'll find you somewhere else you can go. But I need you to be thinking that you're growing in your career because some of the best technicians we have are homegrown. We've taken them from the beginning. We taught them what we wanted to teach them. We've trained them in commercial and residential. Sometimes they even go in a different part of they go plumbing to HVAC, HVAC plumbing, even to help. Because what we said is, I want to hire for the slow season. I do not want to lay off people when it gets tough.
Yeah.
So therefore, I need everybody to fluctuate and I need everybody to respect. And so when the construction team used to be, well, residential is so easy, and the residential team will say the same thing about them, you bring the construction team and they realize, I don't want to talk to the homeowner like that. I don't even want to talk to the homeowner. Just put me in a place for 3 months and let me be.
Yeah.
And they learn to respect. And so
Yeah.
the residential came in and did a rough end, and they're like, "Holy cow, this is tough." I say, "Yeah, you're not in the AC. You're at the mercy of whatever the weather does, and you're going to be working." And so there's been it goes back to the culture, right? Culture is what you make it. And so I guess what I don't know what my point was, but I'll make this point with all that I just said is as a leader, you have to. I recommend books all the time. I tell you, one of my favorite books that I've read is "Who, Not How." You have it,
I got it right here.
yellow. Yeah, that's it. Who,
So
not how.
my client, Billy Klein, he actually made me read that book,
Mhm.
and he actually had me reading the Scale book.
Mm.
Have you read that one?
You want me to go grab it? It's right there.
Yeah. So
I
I mean,
literally
it
have
was
it.
another Ben Hardy book, but so I've been listening to that one on audio version. But yeah, I mean, you have to, it's not who, it's how, right?
And here's what it is I told you earlier, I'm not from the industry. I wasn't born into it. I grew up doing work, carpentry and things like that with my grandpa. He taught me to work hard. He taught me put your head down until coffee time and then back again until lunchtime, and you
Yeah.
just keep going, right? Um, so maybe it's easier for me because I recognize that there's things I don't know. And sometimes it's harder when you have been the A license or you're the master plumber or something
Yeah.
like that. But at the end of the day, as if I'm the lead, if I am in charge of the success of this expedition, the first question is not how am I going to do this, but who is the most qualified person in my team to take us to success? Because we rise and fall together. And so I do a lot of that. It's just okay. Here's the situation. Here's the what we need to fix. Here's the challenge that we're facing. Here's the bad review or the customer that is upset. We can address all of those things, but for a permanent solution, I need to look for somebody who's going to be my go-getter, who's going to look at this and saying, I want to run this race and I'm going to run until my legs fall off.
Yeah.
Because then I can focus my attention on other things that I feel that way. And you will watch the growth of your company do a multiplication. We used to do something called the 4X effect. Twice a year, we sat down and we will go over and say, what can I do? Is there anything in everything that we do that we can do twice as fast in half the time? And sometimes it's going to be AI. Sometimes it's going to be removing a tool that you already purchased and you put in
Yeah.
place, but you found out that it's not the right one.
And
And then
sometimes it might not be the right person that you have in the right seat.
there you go. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a person, and all of a sudden, boom, you start seeing changes that matter in your team. You asked me earlier about how do you get them excited? Give them autonomy. Give them the opportunity to err on the little things and come along and support them. Don't bring this 5 pound sledgehammer to make it straight, because then they will never venture out to greatness. Figure out how to let them make small mistakes and then debrief with them and help them succeed.
I love it. I love the cross training that y'all do. I think that's genius. Like recently, I heard from one of our account managers, which I've trained them well, to find different solutions to help people out. Like, unfortunately, if we're dealing with an air conditioning contractor, it is a weather driven business and it is seasonal, whether you want to accept that or not. Some people manage it a whole lot better, but your off season's not the same as your peak season. So that is seasonal, in my opinion. Plumbing doesn't have those peaks and valleys like that. But it was, the owner was saying they were slow. And so the question came from the account manager, well, could you have your CSRs start outbounding to your database?
Mhm.
And the owner goes, oh no, yeah, they're way too busy for that. I was like, I think that might be the definition of an oxymoron. Like, I mean, like, wait a minute, y'all are slow and you need business, but what are these CSRs doing if they're not answering the phone because it's not busy? Why are they not going out and trying to talk to customers? So, it's a struggle. I think accountability is a big thing. But I think that cross training that y'all are doing, that's part of y'all's culture as well. Like you said, it allows people to respect other jobs that people have. And maybe you find someone that goes, I really enjoyed that. Maybe I want to go into that. And, you find people wanting to work their way up, different parts of the company.
It worked for it against you, and not against you, but like for example, I had my warehouse logistics manager, incredible, probably he was so good, and he decided after all the things that we taught him, he's like, I'm going to school to be an engineer for this industry. So it's a pause, and he's
Yeah.
going to come back better. It's not necessarily what I would have wanted 'cause
Right.
he
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
But to challenge the thought of HVAC being a climate base, it is a seasonal base. So the question really becomes is if the HVAC demand and supply it fluctuates like that, your knowledge doesn't, your skills doesn't. So what else can you take based on your knowledge, skills, and abilities and what you operate and can you do? And maybe again I'm giving away all my secrets, but we partnered up with a company called Dr. Energy Savers and started focusing our winters into the attic renovations. And now what we do is we come in there and there is health benefits, there is energy savings and benefits, but it did not take my team to go learn a whole new thing. It basically paralleled with what we do, and we've seen a growth in our off season of additional revenue that was not being captured because there was no need.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying go get a business on gutters or windows
Yeah.
to do it in the winter.
Something that's comparable.
It is comparable.
Yeah.
We already operated in the attics. It gives us the opportunity to do duct cleanings and duct replacements. Sometimes people would choose to do their system replacement and the attic at the same time, and it is the same install team who's trained. So
Yeah.
now they're cross trained in a different level, and so just ask yourself the question: in my slow season, with my ability to still go, don't take the car and say I'm going to go take him to the lake so I can go boating because that's not going to work.
Right.
y- You know, but just find something that you can supplement or complement your business with.
So we're coming to the end of the show. I want to ask, what does the next 12 to 18 months look like for BCI? What are the plans, growth plans, marketing strategies y'all may be working on? Give me the next secret.
Great. I might be a little too honest sometimes, just so you know.
Remember, no local people are going to see this.
Sure, we'll block the GPS coordinates.
We got to block them out.
um, there are different things in place. Um, we're looking at the functionality of the data. I'm a data person too,
Yeah.
so like when you said earlier that people sometimes you tell them and they still buy. I'm the kind of person that the more information you give me, the more educated I feel my decision is.
Yep.
Right. And so one of the things we're digging into is the vehicle by which we need to use to get our data so that we can make better decisions. Your CRM connected to your Searchlight, connected to your all these things, the integration of it.
Yep.
But for us, it's difficult because we're construction, we're commercial, we're residential. That unicorn hasn't really existed. Most of the things that we see are geared towards residential only, and that creates problems internally.
Yeah.
So internally, I'm looking at that. I'm just accepted that we have to have a different presence on our marketing, and it has to be real. It has to be genuine. It has to be connecting. It has to be funny. It has to be all these different things. So we're gonna go there with it. um, let's see what other things are we looking at. It's just there's a list of major projects, but I just can't talk about them just yet.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
It's fair enough. That just means we've got an invitation to have you back so we can hear what they were after they were done and how they performed.
That's fair enough. We've been working on some things for about 6 to 9 months, and then we're almost there on some decisions, and so
Okay.
yeah, we're looking forward to see what it brings. This year was interesting. I'm going to tell this to everybody because sometimes you just gotta You just got to say it. The change of market wasn't what everybody expected. The change of market was hard. So the question is, what did you do to capture your repair market?
Yeah.
What did you do to capture? Because if the consumer is not replacing but they're fixing, then how were you putting yourself out there? Because we probably we had the biggest deficit in our change on market. In the middle of it, I lost my sales guy, like as summer started. I lost $1 million technician and at the end of May. Like it was just like one thing after the other.
Yeah.
But it was just cool to watch the team come along and do so much with the repair aspect of it that we were able to make that difference up 100%. And so that was our luck. And I'll say luck because what is it? Luck is at the corner of preparation and opportunity, the
Yeah.
cross training, the working on the mindset. But if you felt it this year, we all felt it. If it was hard this year, it was hard.
Yeah.
And if you most of your revenue came in June, July, August with the change outs, then you really felt it this year. So let's expand our minds. Let's keep having conversations like this to figure out how do we protect each other? How do we protect our industry from the sways of the political world and the
Yeah.
tariffs and all those different things? Which I'm so glad we did not talk about politics.
No, this isn't the place for politics at all. And you mentioned data. Like, we're getting real big into data, trying to help our clients out as much as we can with data. One trick that I've encouraged my clients to do is, because the data exists all around. Like, data has
Mhm.
been big business for many, many years. There's big data farms. There's billion-dollar businesses built off of data, and Google sells data. Service Titan sells data. Everybody's selling data. But now you have the opportunities at your fingertips with AI now to help you with that same data that you do have. So one thing we've been doing is having our clients, we've created a prompt. We're telling our clients, go pull your last 12 or 18 months transactions in House Call Pro, Service Titan, whatever you use, get those closed invoices, feed them to AI and tell AI, hey, here's like my last 12 months of invoices. You're going to have things like phone numbers and addresses and the name of these people, but I need you to go find all the missing information, right? I want to know
That's
how many
brilliant.
kids they have, how old they are, how much money they make, what the home
Hmm.
they live in is worth, and then I want you to go put an avatar together and tell me who is my avatar for the last 12 months, 18 months, whatever. You feed it, and then let it tell you, and it's going to come
Yeah.
out and it's going to say it's like Jane and Bob, and they've got 1.2 kids, and they make this amount of money, and then your next job is go find how you can find that data and get in front of those people and pay whatever you have to get your frequency to 3 to 5 times a week, to where you're touching them 3 to 5 times a week, no matter where it's at. I prefer multi-channel. I'd
Yeah.
rather it be a billboard and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok, where I want to be everywhere, and I want them
Mhm.
to always feel like they're seeing me, but don't come from a place of sell, sell, sell. Provide value, educate them, empower them, and then they're going to trust you. And the other thing that people have to remember is there's only 5%, 4 to 6% of your market that ever has a problem and needs you right now. And so it's the 95% that people need to focus on. They live in your community, they own a home, they just don't have a problem right now. But what are you doing to educate them and inform them and empower them to when they do have a problem, boom, your company lights up and they think of you, right? Because you've already built that trust and that brand equity. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I listen, thoughts are coming as you're saying that. And I know we're closing up, but that goes back to the 10-4-1 on marketing. Given 10 pieces of information that benefit them, given 4 pieces of information that are about you, and then make one sales pitch.
yeah,
Become the source of information, become the go-to place where they can trust. You ask, we answer. That we're heading towards that with AI. We're really somehow, even though this is removing the human aspect of it, is almost highlighting it and heightening it to us to a place that we haven't been before.
yeah,
So let's be real. Let's open the windows. Let's clean underneath the rugs in our house, and
yeah.
let people in to see what we are. We're not perfect, and we won't be. But
And the thing is, if you try to still hide under the rug, you're going to be exposed anyways, because you won't get any exposure with the AI platforms. Because
Mhm.
I believe the research we've done, because a lot of times I'll do sneaky stuff and I'll get Chat GPT against Gemini, and I'll let Gronk be the referee of what we're trying to do. And at the end of the day, brand signals, um, brand signals is what all the AI platforms are looking for, right? So it's almost, to me, the way I explain it to people is it's a popularity contest. So who is the most popular right now that the AI can find? Meaning, who's got the most mentions, who's being talked about, who is in this positive light in the community. That's what the AI is going to recommend at that time. So
Mhm.
just go out and be the popular kid. Get videos that it's getting engagement, get comments on them, go get reviews on multiple platforms, go get, featured press articles written. Whatever you have to do,
Mhm.
you just have to be the cool company, the cool kid, because that's how AI is going to mention you and find you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, Leo, I
I
enjoyed
enjoyed it.
I did as well. Well, I wish you all the best this year for 2026 coming out, closing out the fourth quarter. And I will reach back out and we will see maybe in the next year what has happened in 2026 with BCI.
Sounds good. I
All right. Thank
appreciate
you, my friend. I appreciate it. Have a good one.